Why did Aave win? Maker started before you, Compound started before you, but Aave's got clearly the leader. Why did you guys win?
I think it's because of the inclusivity and the way we are build everything. So we always try to be very inclusive when we, let's say, tap into different communities, list assets, look into other kind of like a change when we're building. For example, we listed different kinds, as a community, we listed like different kinds of assets that, for example, other more, I would say like maximalism community members will not approve. We listed Tether before anyone else as a lending currency. It's still a lending currency, not a collateral. wrapped BTC, so we were able to unlock the value of wrapped BTC than anyone else.
So Bitcoin as a lending instrument.
Exactly,
you did it with
on Ethereum, yeah.
Right.
And the same, we were in Polygon, like Sandeep, we had as well. So kind of like, and now like expanding. So our community has been very inclusive, and this inclusiveness has been very rewarding. So in terms of assets and Link community was one of the first we listed, and it gave a lot of traction as well. It's just like kind of like seeing where are those communities that are untapped and going and servicing them. It's just like, we could imagine if there's a world somewhere where people don't have mobile phones and you go and give them mobile phones or give them internet connection, satellite connection, you give cars, people will be happy. And the thing what we did, like, of course, like we didn't give physical objects, we gave them accessibility to unlock value, get yield, just basic financial tools. And that's part of the whole financial inclusion, not of like in this micro like communities, but in macro level. For example, now anyone who is accessing over the 100 different access points into the Aave protocol globally, they get the same yield. So if I access from London, if someone access from Singapore, you know, they have the same equal opportunity for that. And that's like financial inclusion, what we're doing. And I believe that decentralized finance mostly will be adopted through like maybe like institutions, financial intermediaries, you know, could be part of software stack in big banks. But the main difference that we did now is that you have direct access into decentralized protocols if you don't like your service providers, which means that we, first time ever in history, we created finance as a human right after the barter economy. And that's very big.
Such an important part. And again, you know, last year we were really fighting for freedom of speech, which I didn't understand what it really meant until it gets taken away from you.
Exactly.
And this year I was campaigning to be mayor of London, and I was in the middle of the street talking to my iPhone, and 5 police fans surrounded me, and they said, "You're banned from campaigning." And I thought, there's something wrong with that. So we fought back for free and fair elections. And then I'm looking about finance. I think it's one of the last human rights that doesn't exist for everyone in the world.
And privacy.
Yeah, privacy. That one too. But like, again, it's one thing for you and I to have access to it, but you know, if you're on the African subcontinent or in some of the places in Asia and India, you might not have that basic human right to borrow, lend, access to financial markets. And I always tell this tale of 2 women, like my mom's 76 and she's in California. And there's a 76-year-old woman in Ethiopia. They both were single mothers. They both raised 3 kids, but my mom had the option of investing in property that was stable. And this woman might have only had the option of investing in a local currency that was devalued, in property that was seized by the government, in a business that was made redundant because of a civil war. And now this woman in Ethiopia and my mom both have access to digital property and maybe to lending and borrowing through what you do. I mean, it really is a human right.
It is. It is. And the thing is like kind of like essentially what DeFi is, it's a marketplace of liquidity and algorithms that allocate the liquidity in different kinds of opportunities. And algorithm is part of, let's say, our protocol is algorithm, and Maker, that's an algorithm essentially. It's basically code base. And first time ever, you have this kind of like an ocean of liquidity. So I think like when you think about DeFi and try to explain it to like a wider concept, what's happening here, DeFi is kind of like an ocean. So no one controls it. Like you cannot like claim ocean, which is like everyone's right? But then you have different kind of ports in different countries. Like those are the Coinbases of the world, the fintechs of the world, and banks of the world, and institutions. And like everyone has the access to the ocean through a port, for example. But you don't need a port. You can go and swim from the beach to the sea, and you have this accessibility. But the cool part is that, you know, anyone can contribute. Any part of the world, you can create a new innovation. And first time ever, you have developers building at the same time into the same financial infrastructure, the same kind of like software base. So it's very even difficult to create a parallel system where you want to create, okay, let's create a different kind of DeFi where we have a bit more decentralization, but we know the actors or some sort of like a mesh, because you have so much innovation going and this efficiency that end of the day, it's more efficient to use DeFi, and it's ever growing because of innovation. So let's say the more capital is coming into the decentralized finance, the more innovation is going on. There's more demand again, and you have this constant cycle. And at some point, we can take the capital out of the DeFi by creating trust networks. So for example, I might need a collateral. I might need an Ethereum to borrow stablecoins, but I also can deposit Ethereum, borrow stablecoins, and give that borrowing power to someone else, for example, that I trust, maybe other part of the world. So I can delegate my borrowing power, and that person can actually draw those stablecoins and convert them national currencies and whatnot. And we can create this kind of like a trust networks on top of the decentralized finance layer. And I think it's just like a ability of like realizing that it's something, it's going to just be basis of the whole finance, and it's just software, and it's good for everyone. It isn't going to remove traditional finance completely. It's just like traditional finance actually will be more efficient because they have better software now.